my name's Gregor, narrator from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and welcome to this second session of our playthrough of the medieval Tales from Europe's first adventure, the Relic of Lindisfarne. In this, the players are Brad, who will be playing Milo the Peasant, Lyndon playing Odo the Fighter, and Leon, who's playing Samuel the Votary. We pick up our action in the village of Lindisfarne. So, when we last were here on the holy island of Lindisfarne, you guys came from the continent, from the kingdom of Francia. Well, at least Odo and Samuel did, bearing a large wooden box containing apparently the bones of Saint Cuthbert. On the way through, you picked up Milo, who had some connections on the island, and you made your way onto the island, not before just having a bit of a stop, where you noticed some longboats heading out to sea, and at the same time you went down the hill, proving beyond a doubt Samuel's skills as a climber, and there you found the remnants of some form of military camp. But undaunted by this, you pressed on and made your way to the Holy Island, where you met a couple of Milo's shifty friends, and you also encountered a bit of a weird scene at the well where Rhys Stevenson, the oppressive patriarchal overlord of the Holy Island, was dropping a man into the well, who turned out to be a fellow by the name of Theobald Falkbridge, who had previously been the alderman of the islands, but with the recent assassination of the king and a new king, Oswald, coming in, Rhys Stevenson, the man responsible for the dunking, his family was in ascendancy. You found a little bit of that information out from a very suspicious-looking young girl from the island, and then you went into Bethany's Inn, who Milo knew from past escapades. While there, you met Norg and Will, who were two local thugs who tried to goad you. When Odo pulled his sword, Milo pulled his knife, they got out of there toot quick, with Samuel making a tactical retreat beneath a bench with the bones of the saint.
Nicely phrased.
That's right. That's right. Later on that evening, you came out and managed to winch Theobald Falkbridge out of the well, but not before Norg and Will tried to attack you from ambush like the cowards they are, only giving up when Odo threatened to MMA-style choke out Norg, and after he'd been tripped to the ground in a most unecclesiastical move from Samuel. And so where we begin tonight is with you guys sort of hiding round the corner of Bethany's Inn with Theobald Falkbridge, who I actually, for reference, should you want to see him, that's him. That's the man. Although somewhat grimier at this stage because he's been down a well for the best part of a day. So, but that's sort of what you're dealing with there.
But not otherwise injured, is he?
This you can make a check right now if you want to see how he's doing.
I fear that he might need a little bit of, medical support if we're going to try and whisk him out of town before anyone else sees him.
So,
let's do a bit of that.
Yeah, give him a check and see. Oh, yeah, you are able to tell using your priestly knowledge of things medical that he's He's all right. He's doing okay. He's cold and a bit sort of soggy from being in the well, but other than that, he seems to be all right. And he is enormously thankful for what you've done for him. And he was the other little bit of information he gave you before you freed him, or after you freed him, was that he had proof that Rhys Stevenson was a bit of a cad, that you'd just have to trust him and follow him and he'd be able to show you. So that's sort of the first decision up, as you guys sort of squatting somewhere, I suppose, about over there, by the edge of the Bethany's Inn there. Whether you want to go with Rhys tonight to see what he's talking about.
I'd just be keeping an eye on, constantly focusing on looking around corners and things. So I'm mostly just watching everything but Theobald and our situation, and just looking for potential interferences.
All right, I'll get you to make a perception check for me then. Just see how you go.
Okie dokie.
You don't notice anything in particular. Seems pretty good at the moment. It's dark. One of the interesting things I discovered about the Middle Ages is that everybody has two sleeps at this time of history. They would basically go to bed when the sun went down, and they would sleep until just after midnight, which was originally known as the watching hour, because people would get up and go and do things like watch over their cattle or tidy the house, and then go to sleep again, sort of about 2 a.m, get up with the sun. So there's a little bit of historical fact for you, because that's the level of nerd I am. But so at this stage, most people now are kind of sound asleep, and because it's a little bit wet and not so nice, then you've got nothing to worry about. So at this point, Theobald turns around and goes, "So are you coming with me? You're a man of God, are you not?"
That I am, and I think we are, aren't we, chaps? Yes. Lead the way. We can't stand around here. Someone will discover we've got you out of the dastardly well, man. Let's go.
All right. And so he leads you out of the town, out of the village, and heads south, sort of a little bit further away than where you came onto the island, but at that end of the island. And it takes about 20 minutes. You're walking for about 20 minutes, and then you start to see what looks like a ruined tower up ahead of you. And he sort of looks at you and he goes, "In here, you'll see everything that you're looking for. I think some of this, I'm sorry, Father, may be shocking to you, because I'll let it speak for itself." So yeah.
Stay close, man.
Does it look recently destroyed? Like recently ruined, or it's a fixture?
No, I think you would be able to tell, even without making any form of check, really, that from the moss and lichen and overgrown stuff around it, it hasn't been used recently. And certainly when he takes you up, so you can see this tower, it's about 30 feet high, dressed stone, probably of Roman manufacture, so it's oldish. And then there is a small annexed building next to it that he leads you into, and you can see that part of that is collapsed. And then he takes you up these stairs, and there's a wooden door with big bands of iron across it, and these look old. And then there is a plaque there, and you can see that there is a trout banner. And if you remember from the first, your first visit, there were lots of these trout banners everywhere, and Milo's slightly dodgy mate Sam told you that these were the banners of the Stevensons family. And you come up to this door, and Theobald looks at you and goes, and he pulls this key out and he goes, "Are you prepared, Father, for what you see in here? It will be shocking."
Yes, I think that the Lord will guide me through the next few moments. What are we preparing for, man?
The secret of the Stevensons. And he sort of unlocks the door. And I'll take you in here. You come to this old tower. So here you all are. I just better add Theobald in there as well. So it's a big space, and what you can see is that over on the wall there seems to be burning candles, as if somebody's been there reasonably recently, is a statuette. It is not Christian in any way, shape or form. It is of a horned goddess. As far as you're concerned, Samuel, this is a sign of absolute blasphemy. On the right,
A religious hand gesture or something upon myself.
Yeah, all those following us.
yeah, and Theobald gives it a bit of that as well. So, and then you can see.
What's her name then? What's her name?
And Theobald looks at you and goes, shh, there's a man of God present, for goodness sakes.
Speak freely. We should speak candidly, Theobald. There's obviously much bigger things afoot here. Speak freely, man. What is his name in the corner here?
I have no idea. I do not know.
Odo's gonna look at him and say, "How do you cast this key?"
Well, I had a key to this place before Reese did. There are several keys. It's an old place, and as the previous alderman, I was responsible for the upkeep and making sure that this fell no further into ruin. But it was certainly not like this when I came in, when I was in charge of the Holy Island.
And so you say this is the secret of this family. What, they're praying to this statue, are they?
Yes, I believe so.
Dreadful.
So, what do you guys want to do now you're here?
Well, I feel like I should get closer and have a look at the dastardly thing.
All right.
Odo's going to go and have a look at this desk.
Oh, yep. So, at this stage, that is dark. So, if there is a candle there. So, if you've got some means of lighting it, you could certainly light that candle.
Let's have a look. Probably prefer not to go and light it off one of the existing candles. This torch tinder box. Yeah, I can light a candle.
All right, hang on 1 moment. Ah, twink. There you go. So yeah, there is enough to illuminate the fact that on this table there is, although most of the other furniture in here is very old, it's in an old Roman style. From what you can see, certainly the chair and the table and things that you can make out from where you are. But this box, this chest that's sitting on top of it, is a very modern looking box. And that's sort of what's there on that part of the on that, in that area. What are so you're going up to have a look at things, are you, Samuel?
I am. I've wandered past the table and seen the box, but I'm interested in this heathen statue.
It is heathen statue. So she is larger than human sized. A woman, robed woman, horned, holding a staff of sort of holly and ivy. And there are all these various candles all around her, which are still burning.
Right. So there's nothing, unpleasant on the altar, is there? There's no entrails or carry on, is there?
Make an investigation check if you like.
Dear. Okay.
Let's see what you find.
I'm not looking hard for it. I just know.
You're certainly not. You're not looking hard. You can't see anything. You're so unsettled by this weird, heathen statue that you can't really pay attention to what's going on there. She unsettles you and disquiets you.
I mean, do I know her? Have I? Is this a tale I might have heard of in my wide religious readings?
Give us a history check.
History?
Yeah. No, you don't have any idea. All you know is that she's obviously pagan, but given that you've spent very little time in this part of Europe, you don't really know what she is.
Okay.
What are we supposed to be doing here then?
And Theobald calls over from by the stairs where he is. We are looking for gathering evidence so that we may show the prior that Rhys Stevenson is a heathen.
Is there a kitchen?
I don't think so. Why?
Just wondering. What evidence you think we should keep an eye out for?
I think Odo might have put his finger on it, my lad. Well, what's in the box, Odo?
I'll try and crack the box open for you, father.
It just opens.
Okay.
What is inside?
So inside,
What's in the box?
inside, there is a small collection of weapons. There is an ancient sword. It's ornate but looks very fragile. There's a bow, a quiver with 6 arrows, and a Frankish axe. What else is there? So a Frankish axe, so known as a Francisca. So these are axes that can be thrown, as well as they're sort of a light axe, as opposed to the bigger, sort of more common axes that you would find here. But you guys, both Samuel and Odo especially, you're quite familiar with these. And there is also a notebook. So, yeah.
Pass that here, Odo. Pass that here immediately. Let's see what they've been keeping notes
See you
on.
go, Father.
Do you speak, or is Anglo-Saxon one of your languages?
No. Well, Common and Vulgar Latin.
Vulgar Latin.
Latin and Germanic.
Oh, it's Germanic. So you would recognise some of it because you speak Frankish. So one of the things with medieval as a system is that there are root languages like Germanic, and if you speak that, you have a basic understanding of the other languages, but not necessarily everything. So you can, from what you can, I'll get you to make an intelligence check for me to work out what you can work out in total.
Surely. Oh. I'm not having a good day in German.
You're not having a good day, but seeing you sort of looking at it and sort of sounding out words and things, Theobald comes over and goes, excuse me, Father, may I?
Of course.
And he takes it and he has a look at it and he says, he looks at it and he goes, Father, this is scandalous. This sword, it appears to be a relic from this island that Reese is trying to smuggle off and sell to other people. Well, this is priory land. This should be your brothers and sisters who benefit from this, if anyone.
So what are they doing with it in here?
I would say that he's keeping it hidden, Father, so that nobody may find it, that he may smuggle it. And yes, there's a list of potential buyers here.
Oh yes?
Yes.
What sort of wretched individuals would be buying these sorts of treasures?
It seems, Father, that fellow pagans.
Yes.
Milo, as you move over there, just by the light of the candles, you're able to notice that the banners on the wall are trout and sword rampant banners. So these are, it's definitely very Stevenson themed in here.
Okay. I had to listen to something else briefly after those weapons were revealed. Did anyone claim the bow? Because I just saw that I have proficiency with a simple bow.
No one has claimed anything.
Okay.
I can give you that bow if nobody else wants it.
Well, yep.
We can't let it fall in the hands of these bloody pagans.
Well, then allow me to drag it over and give it to Knifey Milo. You have
Doing that, I can take the axe as well.
All right, I will do that. Odo has the axe. So there it is on your inventory. So that probably takes you about 15 minutes of mucking around. As you do that, I'll get you all just to make a perception check for me.
Ooh.
So Samuel, being the most on edge because of the heathen, the taint of the devil in the air, you're sort of most on edge, and you can hear this sort of slightly drunken singing coming from what seems like down the stairs.
Drunken revelry.
And it's getting
That sounds
closer.
like a good idea.
Okay, shush, chaps. Who else is in this building, man? Talking to Theobald.
And he sort of, there should be nobody here.
Odo's gonna So what is the layout with the entrance?
So the entrance comes up the stairs, and there's a landing sort of there. So the stairs are below. They come up. There's a landing in that top corner.
Okay.
You think there might be someone else here then?
They're just gonna hang out there, I guess.
And you hear a clink, 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 and then you hear that's weird. And the door goes, and then you hear, Mr. Reese, are you there?
I think he might be pissed in.
Yes, indeed. They sound quite drunken. Who's this? Mr. Reese? Who's Theobald? Is that
That's
the current ruler, is it?
Lord Stevenson.
So they're Stevenson's men.
And then you hear him go, hello, anybody?
Odo, get your axe out.
He's got his axe. He's just going to crouch down a bit as well, so he's not in like the eye line of anyone coming in.
And then you guys hear, but because most of you aren't by any sort of source of light to really see, you hear this doof, boof, 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 boof of stairs, feet on the stairs, and then you see one of Stevenson's men-at-arms at the top of the stairs, and he's sort of clutching the edge of the stairs and reeling a bit as he's sort of looking about, going, who's here?
Around the point that he's just making up the top step, Odo will run forward and tackle him.
All right. Make an athletics check.
At that, I'll also go, oh shit, we're doing things, and I'll fumble to get the bow out.
All right.
I think I'm going to hide behind the table.
As does Theobald. He ducks down behind the table. So, Odo, that's a 21. You hit him
Boom.
perfectly and slam him up against the wall. And this guy's like, what?
Right.
And he looks up at you and he goes, who are you?
Hello, my name is Odo. Who are you?
And he goes, do I know you?
Well, I'm new in town. Who are you?
My name's Thomas. Why? And then he sort of belches, and it's a very whiny beer. It's a very alcohol belch that he does. And as he does that, he has a squirm to try and get free. So I'll get you to, we'll do a contested athletics check, you versus him. See how we go.
It's a little too chatty.
Oh.
And he has that.
Just turning around, trying to get Samuel to tell him what to do, and then
He has that dumb drunk strength, you know, that when they're just, and he just sort of lurches free and stands up and pushes you back a bit and goes, are you robbing the place?
Yeah, my bow is drawn, and I'm sort of waiting for the signal to do something.
All right.
All right, I'm going to pop up from behind the table.
Yep.
For
And-
goodness sake, man, we're here in holy work. Stand down. Leave my man alone.
And he can just see you by the light of the torch. So yeah, just hear you or see you. And he, I suppose it's probably time to make. Are you trying to use your powers of suggestion here, or?
I am. I definitely am.
All right. Well, it's time to make a charisma check. Well, it's probably a persuasion at the moment because you haven't invoked. Have you invoked the
I
whole?
said it's holy work.
Oh, yeah. No. I'll allow that to be counted as for suggestion. Go on.
I'm just avoiding saying it's the Lord's work somewhat strategically. Oh, so close. 10.
8, 10. He's just a bit drunk to sort of be paying much attention to that sort of stuff. So he looks at you and he goes, who are you? I don't think I know you.
I don't think you need to worry about that right now. What on earth is going on downstairs there? Aren't you men meant to be on duty?
It's cold, and I think that you should leave.
I don't think you're in a fit state to be giving anyone instructions. Look, you're drunken. I think it's time for you to be heading off to bed. Spitspot. You'll be on duty, no doubt, in the morning, and you'll feel the worse for wear then. Take my
I'm
advice.
just gonna step away from him and pick up the box.
And at that moment, when he sees you do that, he goes, "Put that down. It's not yours." And he's going to come running towards you guys. So I think it's probably safe to say that it's initiative time. So let's get a roll for initiative from all of you.
Oh, nuts.
All right, let me put this over here. So Theobald gets a 6. The guard gets a 6. And have you rolled for Samuel? Ooh. We have now.
Jeepers.
Wow.
So, the guard goes first. He's going to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to where Odo is. And at this point, he's going to just try and swing at you with his fist. So he's just going to I'll just run this because he is a strength check. It'll be like I'll just do that. At disadvantage because he's hammered.
That seems fair.
And that's an 8. So he swings and misses. It is a big whiff. So no hit from the guard. That is his move. So Samuel, you're up. What are you going to do?
As much as I don't like to, I think I'm going to scooch round behind him. I'm going to see if I can't trip him up.
The old trip again. All right.
Trip him up trick.
Make an athletics check then. And I think we did this athletics and versus. No. Oh, no. Not good enough. So you lash out, but it's dark. You can't really see him because there's very little light. And he's also lurching around, so he doesn't. You don't get him. All right, Theobald stays where he is and just shouts mainly unhelpful things like, stop it! Enough! Stand down, Thomas! I've known you since you were a boy! What would your mother say? And things that are not particularly useful for what you people want at this stage. All right, Odo, it is your go. What do you want to do?
I really just want to hit him with the box, actually, if that's, the kind of scale we're talking about. It's a sword-containing box. That's quite big, isn't it?
It is big, yeah.
I'm gonna drop the box and punch him.
All right, then you make yourself an unarmed attack.
Where do I find
Inventory. Hang on. Let me put one in there for you. Where is it here? Boink. Should be there now.
I do it? Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Ugh.
That is unfortunately is dark. The light of that candle is not really sufficient, and you whiff out, and it's no good. So you miss. You're going to stay where you are.
Yes.
All right. Milo, you're up. I mean, if you're shooting with your bow, you'd be at disadvantage at this stage because the light is really bad. But you could have a go if you wanted.
Yeah, I definitely think that I would. Just considering it's turned into like this mad shambles of people dropping boxes and trying to trip people, and it's clear that this is a violent situation, and it is a spooky environment. It's in the dark. I'm just gonna
have a larrup at him. All right, roll to hit. So you are. Did it say that you are proficient in it? Did you?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, so that's fine. You add your proficiency bonus and everything. It's all good. So you're shot from the bow from your end. It looks like it's going to be great. And it looks like it's going straight for his head. And at the last moment, he goes, "Hurrah!" and ducks and lets loose a sort of a slightly fluidy belch. And the arrow goes straight over right where his head would have been. It would have got him right between the eyes. But he's ducked. And there is now a small spatter of sort of beery bile on the ground. And the arrow has missed. So it's his go, and he sort of notices that this bow has been pulled. So I suppose if you want to, it's kind of a bit. No, it's probably a bit late to try and frighten him with it. No. Let me check. This is a new rule. Let me see how we can play this, because I think possibly
Efficient with it, I guess.
Yeah, when somebody draws a weapon and or aims it threateningly at an individual. Oh, you have to do it as an action, so you would have to impose it as an action. He doesn't necessarily get frightened by it, especially since he's a bit hammered. But I think he will pull his sword. So he has a sword on him, and he pulls it, and he points it at you, Odo. But you are, as far as I understand, you are immune
to being afraid of swords.
Yeah. So he pulls the sword on you, but because of your background, you are unfreaked out about it, but he is going to try and have a go at you with it. So things are about to get real. But he is drunk, so he attacks with disadvantage. Here he goes.
Oof.
And that is
as well.
And it isn't he goes to swing. It looks like a good swing. He puts a foot in his own sick, loses balance a little bit, and the blade goes sailing past your nose. And Samuel behind him, because the swing is so wild, you see the sword come behind, and you manage to duck underneath it as it goes past. So he is. That's his moment, and it's now you, Father Samuel.
Is he facing me or facing away?
He's facing away, so he's facing Odo. He's correctly assessed that Odo is the threat in the room, but he's just not drunk enough. He's not sober enough to do anything about it.
Okay. I genuinely think for his own well-being, we need to get him to the floor. So I'm going to grab the back of his shirt and I'm going to try and just drag him bodily to the floor. He looks wobbly to me.
All right. So yeah, we'll make another contested strength attack here on this one. So you versus him. He'll be at disadvantage because he's drunk.
Oh yeah, that's an attribute I really want to try with. Yeah, cool. Okay.
Give it a go.
Oh my god.
Ah, and just full of that strange sort of monkey-like strength that he has. Yeah. you pull him to the ground, and there is a oof, and there is you guys both land in his pile of sort of beery sick, but he is now on the ground, so he is prone at this point.
Good. Down is a good start.
Which gives Odo and you advantage on him, but Milo disadvantage with the bow at this point, although you're at disadvantage because it's dark anyway. All right, so he's down. Theobald, I don't even know why I have him in the initiative order. He looks at you and goes, "My goodness, Father! Yes! Huzzah!" And that is his contribution.
Right. Odo is going to pull his sword out and stab a guy.
All right, here we go. It's on.
At advantage?
At advantage.
I'll roll again.
That's it. Oh, yeah, roll again just to see if you crit. No, but you definitely get him. Yep, so roll for damage. This is where the huge amounts of dice for the...
Wow.
And you come down with the sword, and there is because he's been pulled down by Samuel, he's sort of head facing you. You come down, there is a sickening crack, and your sword just splits his head like a melon, and you hear Theobald go, oh, and the guard is poof. And the blood starts to spread. And the combat
I'm going to quietly and swiftly perform some last rites for the dastardly beast of a man.
And yes.
A good Christian prayer over his pagan-y well-being.
All right. Done. So, yeah, what do you guys want to do now?
But you're right, we could make our escape. Is there anything else you wanted to show us, Theobald?
And Theobald goes, we should probably leave before things are discovered.
Odo will pick up the box.
All right.
Lead the way, man. Lead the way.
Look at the statue and go, do we want to take a piece of that for demonstrative purposes?
It looks a bit hard to carry to me.
And Theobald... Theobald looks at you all and goes, Father, I just... should the abbot require further proof, we may need to bring him here, and there is this... and he sort of looks over to where the corpse is now lying there. This, yes, murder.
I might just need to come over here and grab him by both shoulders and say, "Come on, Theobald man, pull yourself together. We've got to get out of here."
Make a persuasion check and see how you do.
And I'm just going to very unceremoniously loot the body.
All right. So what is on him? Well, there is a good sword if you want it, and
I don't think I'm proficient.
okay. Well, there's a sword, and there's also a sort of set of padding, armor padding too, if you wanted to put that on. Common padding. So.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm not proficient with any armor.
All right.
Don't know if I've,
And it's also somewhat blood-stained at this stage.
Yeah, it probably stinks of vomit, so no, I'm good.
Yeah, okay.
Seems like a thing that would take time.
He is wearing nice boots if you wanted to try it, if you wanted to wear those. You're wearing sort of wooden clogs if you wanted to go...
I'll score his boots, because they'll be more quiet than moving around in clogs. Okay.
All right, so... Do you guys want to? Have you guys? What, are you just going to leave the body where it is now, so sort of slightly looted and tossed, or what are you? What's your plan?
Look, my preference would be obviously to give it a good Christian burial, but I think it's more important that we make our escape.
Do we have to go past anyone to leave?
No, I mean, you came and there was nobody there. You just walked through empty fields. So, you know, it's still sort of 9:30 at night. So it's likely that people are still asleep and there's nobody out. You didn't notice this guy on the way over, but you didn't see anybody on your way at all.
Well, I think we make a break for it, Your Holiness, and chuck Mr. Folkbridge back in the well. What you reckon?
Well, does Mr. Folkbridge need to go back in the well, or could we replace him with this body we've got now?
You could. That's a little macabre, Father. I think
left us now.
I think there's enough in this, and he points at the box, to, cast aspersions on the reliability of Mr. Stevenson and perhaps exonerate me from my sojourn in the well. Don't you think? If we were to prove that he was a pagan and a smuggler, then surely his rulings would become overruled and I may once again become the alderman of the island. I would just need a holy man, perhaps a man who's not quite so obviously a party to murder to vouch for me. So
we should proceed to the abbey as close as we can at this time.
In the meantime, you could stay at my very humble abode.
Do you believe we will be secure there?
I just saw what you did to a armed... I saw what you did to an armed soldier. I think you'll be very safe.
Sounds lovely.
Yes, we would love to accept your offer.
All right, so we're leaving the body here.
Yes.
Very well. Follow me. And you see that he quite deliberately walks around so as to not traipse through the pooling blood that is spreading slowly on the floor here.
I assumed Odo had to tread it a bit, so he's to get the box back. So he's like wiping his feet on the beer before going out.
All right. So you make your way.
Sword as well, yeah.
So after wiping everything on the slightly motley and faded, threadbare bear rug, you make your way out of the tower, and you head back over towards the village, with the rain still falling a little bit, which is good because it removes any other small traces of blood and things from you. When Theobald says his humble abode, he's really talking humble here. It's essentially a hovel, and he brings you in and apologizes. I'm so very sorry. I have fallen somewhat in stature, but you will restore me.
Not at all, Theobald. Your offer of hospitality is very much a gift from God, and to be celebrated, the good Christian man that you are. We are grateful to have your hospitality for the evening.
So with the four of you, the box and the saint and the other box, it's very tight in there. It's very tight. Do you guys want to do anything before you go to sleep, or are you just going to go to sleep?
Oh, I'm going to need to pray for forgiveness, obviously.
So you have you pray. You're not 100% convinced.
We'll grab Milo and go like, I am glad you have us. We have you by our side to defend us. You're a good man.
Milo says nothing, and you guys.
He's a quiet fellow.
Yeah, Milo just takes off his boots and then he cuddles them to sleep.
They are quite nice, if not just a little bit sort of slightly blood spattered, and they just smell a little bit of beer and
Bile.
Yeah, just a little bit, not too much, but he did get them when he did that duck from your arrow. You managed to recover that too as you left. It was such a good shot, and so you've still got those 6 arrows. So you guys head to sleep and find yourself sleeping not too badly, and about 6 in the morning, close to 6 in the morning, Theobald wakes you up, and you get a sort of you're shaking. Good morning, gentlemen. It's good to know that you all slept well. I barely slept a wink. It's after the excitement of yesterday. Perhaps we should leave for the abbey now that the tide is down.
I think that is a splendid idea. Let us get back on our way.
All right. So you guys, and he offers to lead you. Are you guys? Well, I mean, you're right on the edge of town, or of the village anyway, because he's essentially in what may have been a pig pen at some point. So are you being sneaky about it, or are you just you're just you can see that there are a few other people heading in that direction as well towards the abbey?
I think a degree of sneakiness is probably appropriate.
So, I don't know where we left you, but the townsperson was just interrogating you, and basically he wanted to know, how did you get the name Knifey Milo, and what is a crouton anyway?
It's this continental invention. Bloody brilliant. Pop bits of bread in your soup. Food and drink at the same time. It's gonna hit it off big. Gonna make hundreds of gold.
And do you need a knife for that?
What a nice for protecting it, isn't it? Someone wants to take your croutons, you stop them.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. So, have you had to protect your croutons from anybody before?
Just a dog what look mighty hungry.
I'll get you to make one final deception check just to see if he buys any of this bollocks.
Surely it's ridiculous enough to not to be believed. No.
Or to just distract him from anything else.
And he goes, "No, you're a butcher, aren't you? That's where the name comes from. That's what it is. Crouton. That's what the Franks call like a young chicken, isn't it? You butchers." And he just carries on up the path.
Good save.
And you when you turn around, you can see that Theobald is sweating. It's raining, but despite the fact that it's raining and not very warm, there is actual sweat amongst the. He is just having a really bad time. So you carry on, and you can see that there is a gate up ahead, and various people they seem to be knocking on the door, and then they seem to be knocking on the door, talking to somebody behind it, and then going inside. So, not long after, you come up, and there's a bit of a queue, and the guy who thought that you were a butcher goes in, and then it's your turn, and the door is shut, and this little eye slit opens, and this you see a middle-aged monk who's got blue eyes, and he looks knackered, and he looks up at you, and he goes, "Hello, how may I help you?"
Samuel.
Give Samuel like a little nudge.
Yeah,
Like,
been carrying this
Your
very important
Your
box
Holiness?
of Saint Cuthbert's bones here to deposit at the abbey.
And do you have a missive, a letter, anything to accompany the box? Which you do.
I do.
Yes.
Do. It is here.
And you pass it through, and he looks at it and hums and he has, and he says, "Oh, the bishop. Oh, well, very well then. Please come inside. Welcome to Lindisfarne Abbey. I'm Father Ethelwald." And he opens the door, and as he opens the door up, let's see if we can get this done. Yeah, we can. He opens into a porch, and there is a large sunny cloister behind it, and you can hear religious singing coming from somewhere. And he there's also, you can see a garden with a monk already in that, although it's early in the day, already there, and the vegetables, and he beckons you. I think you should speak to someone a little more senior about this matter. The prior Aidan is absent today, but Father Coleman, who is working in his stead, will be able to help you. Come with me. And he
Absolutely. Father Coleman, absolutely.
and he leads you through into this into a room, and you can see that it's a scriptorium. So there are several brothers there scratching away again, even though it's early. Samuel, that you guys are up for prayers and service straight away, and then you're into work. So it's not unusual. and they are already hard at work copying manuscripts and things. And Father Ethelwald looks at you and goes, "One moment, I will see if Father has finished his morning duties." And he bids you to stay there, and then he disappears. And you guys are sort of there in the scriptorium. There are 3 or 4 monks there, studiously copying things, but every once in a while one of them just can't resist the temptation to stop and look and check you guys out. Do you have both boxes with you?
Yes, I believe Odo's carrying the second box.
Right.
And the St. Cuthbert Bones box is definitely with us.
So they are sort of looking at the boxes, looking at you. There's quite a few of them sort of looking at your sword. And then they go back and then they carry on. And about five minutes later, I suppose, Ethelwald says, "This seems to be slightly more important than I first anticipated come, and it's probably time that you met the Council of Presbyters," and brings you beckons you forward, and you come into this space. And in this room, there are about 10 religious dudes, older, and they are sitting on these high-backed wooden chairs. And above each of them, there is a plaque which has their name or has a role on it. So one of them has sacristan, and then one has novice master. And you can see that one of them, labelled prior, is empty. But you can see another man sitting in the chair next to that one, which is labelled assistant prior, and it's this fella here. I'll show you.
I'm going to sort of nervously attempt to tidy myself up a little as we get closer, one-handed around the box.
You see this guy here.
Oof.
A reasonably stern-looking older gentleman, and he looks at you all, and I'm going to just make a little bit of a notoriety roll for each of you.
I lean to whoever's nearest me, and I'm like, if he's the assistant, imagine how old the other bloke is.
So we'll just do a notoriety roll for Milo at this point. No, nobody knows who you are. What's your notoriety, Lyndon?
10, I think.
10? All right.
Where was it? Yeah, 10.
No idea who you are. Okay, all right, so I'll just check his notoriety as well. Make a third roll. Wow! And he looks down at you, and he's still got that letter in your hand. And he's looking at it, and as he's reading it and looking up at you, one of the guy sitting in the chair with the sacristan, looks at you and he goes, "Samuel, this is young Samuel who I knew as a novice. Yes?
Yes, Father, yes.
Yeah, and you are here now. You have come to slightly less clement climes. I know this man," and he looks across at Father Coleman and goes, "This is a very this is a very deeply religious man, a great scholar, someone beyond reproach. Why, this is a man who I have never seen so much as earth to fly, who cares for all men, a healer, a spiritual balm, someone who is beyond reproach. This man, when I knew him as a boy, was someone who would never become entangled in anything sinful or wrong, and now I see the holiness shine out of him as a man.
He's a good climber too.
And he looks at you and goes, he is? Where has he climbed?
Into the hearts of the Lord? I don't know.
Make a persuasion check for me.
So out of my depth.
No.
This is great. This is
Really just watch my mouth.
and he,
I know it's just been sort of beaming at this praise for his Holy Father. It's kind of sees things going south and is like, on our journey we saw these long black boats leaving the beach, and the Holy Father assisted with the search of the area, which was up a short but precipitous slope.
and at that, Father Coleman,
You know, the Lord's work takes you to all sorts of places.
he lowers the letter and looks at you. I'll get you also to make a persuasion check, Odo, just to see whether he's buying the story from you. Make it... Yeah, no, I'll just lower the DC on it. And he looks at you and he goes, what? And this is the first time you hear him speak, and he sort of looks at you and goes, I'm sorry? A black boat, you say?
Yes, Father. A number of them appeared to be shored at some point, but we only saw the one leaving. There was an entire encampment that definitely needed a look at, we thought.
These boats were leaving, you say?
Yes, Father. Does it mean something to you, if I may?
How far away from here were the boats?
Oh, Odo, what would you say? In the distance, for sure.
On the mainland, but not half a day's journey.
This is troublesome. I tell you what, when we are finished here, if you would do me a favor, good sir, and he looks at Odo, since you know these boats, perhaps from the bell tower you may be able to see further evidence of them. Would you go to look for me?
Of course. Of course, sir. I'm here to be of service.
I wasn't talking to you,
Oh.
climbing man. I was talking to our Frankish friend here. You, however...
Also, our local guide has sharp eyes.
This, and he looks at Milo, this is your local guide?
He has performed his task well, so...
I'm a pretty good climber, I suppose. It's like my metric for measuring a person's worth.
He can climb.
And he looks at you and he goes, come forward. You... What is your name?
Milo, just Milo, nothing else.
Very well. And Who is this other man with you? And he sort of points with Theobald's like, oh, you know who I am, Father Coleman. It's me, Theobald Falkbridge. And he looks at you and he goes, I see. I didn't almost recognize you because you appear to have fallen on hard times. And Theobald sort of, as he says that, he elbows you quite hard, Samuel.
Perhaps, my lord, this is a good moment to mention, Father, that we have come across the worship of pagan idols.
And Father Coleman stops and goes, on this joyous occasion where St. Cuthbert's bones are returned to the bosom of his holy family, you come speaking of blasphemy? Why? Climbing, Father?
I truly believe the Lord's work was to carry the bones on a journey set for me, greater than my own understanding, and I was delivered there to bring this news to the church, that we might take action against these pagans that have unthroned Theobald from his rightful place and have grasped control through the worship of evil.
And who are these pagans, and what evidence do you have?
There was a lady what had horns.
Indeed. We came across an altar with a false idol, a horned goddess upon it, defiling the space, but more importantly than that, we came away with this notebook, you see, full of their wrongdoings and carryings on.
And he sort of...
The shadow of Satan.
He beckons to you. Bring it here. And he takes it out of your hand, and he starts looking at it. And then he sort of looks up, and he tucks it in his robe, and he goes, we shall talk of this a little later. In the meantime, there must be celebration and congratulations to you, Father. Your name?
Samuel Lytton, Father.
Father Lytton. And your companion, Milo, and the large, tall chap?
Which one of you is the tall one?
My name is Odo.
Odo.
Worship.
Blessings be upon all of you. And this is a great time. And he looks at the guy sitting in the chair. Father Ethelwood, please bring the saint back home. And the guy comes over and he looks at the box and he takes a small knife out of his thing and he prizes the top off the box. And it pops up, and then he pops up the second board and he looks down and he goes, And he reaches in and he pulls out what is a cloth-wrapped bundle. Can I get you all just to make a perception check for me? And one for as he does, Samuel, you notice a tiny little sliver of bone falls out from the cloth and into the box, but nobody else seems to notice it. And he sort of reverently carries this bundle off and disappears out of the room. So the box is still there, just sort of in front of you guys. Everybody's ignoring that now. But because of your perception check, when you look in there, there is a tiny little bit, probably about the size of a thumbnail of bone, just sort of sitting in the bottom of the box.
All right. God forgive me. Yoink. I'm just gonna take that little holy treasure. It's my little
Are,
treasure.
are you trying to do it so that nobody can notice?
I absolutely am trying to be as stealth as I'm just closing up the box.
Make
putting
it.
off the table.
Make a sleight of hand check to see if you manage to steal part of a relic. As you do, Father Coleman goes, "Saints be praised! You have found another piece of the blessed saint."
Yes, Father. Yes. I was just going to rush this with the rest of the saintly being to its resting place. Its correct and true, Christ blessed resting place.
And he holds his hand out and he goes, "I shall take care of that. Well done. It's the honor is mine. You have carried the saint far enough."
I can take it downstairs. It's all good. I think,
Make a persuasion check to try and steal a holy relic. At this point, unfortunately, the session has a small glitch in the recording. It's at this moment where Father Samuel feels it's important for him to reveal the fact that he was a party to murder, and when Father Coleman asks him, did he strike the blow, he said no, he didn't. Instead, it was struck by Odo, and at that moment Leon decided it was a good time to invoke divine signs. Rolling a 17, he managed to create a divine sign. A shaft of light fell through the window, illuminating him and giving him a divine halo, which was enough to convince Father Coleman that he had done the right thing. Nevertheless, Father Coleman did insist that Odo was chastised and that Father Samuel was the instrument of that chastising, and he was to strike him one time for each member of the Holy Trinity. On the second strike, missing on the first, missing on the third, but the second strike was a critical hit, causing a point of damage to Odo. It would have caused 2, but with Father Samuel's -1 for strength, he caused 1 point of damage and inflicted 1 level of exhaustion on Odo. Happy with the punishment, Father Coleman allowed them the choice of which of the 2 tasks they would take part in, whether they would go up to the bell tower first or make their way to get further evidence against Rhys Stevenson. They chose the bell tower. Where you last left, but basically everybody's heading up to the bell tower, and the dirty monks had a laugh at your expense because Father Coleman says you would enjoy this. There's a lot of climbing involved, and there was generally patronising laughter all round. Cue patronising laughter.
I imagine he would have been oblivious. Like he would have been, like he would have laughed with them. Like yeah, that is ridiculous.
So Brother Edfrith takes you up the bell tower, and you can see you've got a fantastic view. It is easily the highest point on the island and the highest point for some way around. So I'll get you to make anybody who wants to have a look can make a perception check. It'll be at disadvantage for Odo because his ears are still ringing from where Samuel really smashed him one as part of his religious punishment. But
can I medicine check on Odo to see if I can't help his injuries?
Yeah, you can make a medicine check. Nothing to be done. You've just clocked him a good one. You're lucky he didn't break any teeth. And as you're looking, Odo's looking out, Milo's looking out, and in the distance, you guys can see that there are 2 ships under full sail moving along the horizon, coming sort of vaguely towards where the abbey might be. And that's where we leave the session tonight, with a spotting of some Vikings on the horizon and a little bit of levelling up to be done for Milo, Odo and Samuel, who all go to level 2